And good afternoon or good morning or whatever part of the day it is that you're watching this right now or listening to it, depending on where you're picking us up on, whether it's Facebook or YouTube or right on the SN Radio app. I'm Mike Minarski. I have with me today, once again, Tom Sparkman, the first selectman in the town of Lisbon. Good day. I almost said good afternoon, good morning, but how are you?
I think good day will work. Yeah, I'm well. I'm well. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. Now that we got the technology issues out of the way, I had a technology issue yesterday with the radio station where it just wouldn't connect for whatever reason to our server. So we were down for about 3 or 4 minutes. I turned it off, turned it back on, and boom, there it was again. It was fine.
Yeah, I had a problem with my internet last week. It was down. It wouldn't connect. Everybody else in the town hall connected. I couldn't. I called my IT guy. He said, I'll be down tomorrow. I went in the next morning and miraculously it connected.
I just figured, like everything else, my internet was down due to COVID-19.
Yeah, I'm going to attribute it to that, yes.
So this is actually the first Zoom interview I've done with anybody that is actually just on their handheld device. You?
Yeah, because I wasn't sure if my laptop was going to be functioning when we were doing this.
Yeah.
So I figured I'd go with something. I figured I'd go with something that was reliable, and go figure, it wasn't really that reliable for a while.
And I got to admit, Tom, you look like you're laying down. You look like you're laying down with your phone ahead of you.
Actually, I'm in a chair that's reclined a little bit. I'm at home.
Oh, okay. Well, stay home, stay safe.
Yeah, I didn't know how to make this look like I wasn't in a sleeper bed or something.
Well, you're not in your jammies, so.
Yeah. Well, you don't know that.
That's true.
Yeah.
If I do a business meeting on this system right here, I gotta sometimes maybe a tie here, and I'm wearing sweatpants on the bottom. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure
I have known people that I've been doing meetings with where they've had a nice shirt on, but it's sweatpants and slippers below the device.
Who knew? Who knew? You know? Who cares? You know?
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into a couple of things. Like, for example, let's talk about coronavirus in Lisbon. How is it affecting the town? What kind of feedback are you getting? Any big, huge problems? Because it looks like in Lisbon, it's fairly well contained.
Yeah, we're by the numbers, we're not doing too bad. We've had a few upticks in the last few days. We had one household that had 3 or 4 people, depending on who you talk to, that were affected by the virus. So depending on, as I said, depending on where you look, we're anywhere between 7 and 11 people in town. Last numbers I got. So yeah, I think we're doing pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
There have been, thank God, no deaths. And we have had, some of them have stayed home, and we have had a few that have been hospitalized.
Yeah, I've known a few people personally that have been hospitalized but are home, and
Yep.
Pretty much all of them are back to work again. Speaking about going back to work, what's the situation at Town Hall? Is that going to reopen soon in Lisbon, or other parts of town government?
Well, to be honest with you, although the town buildings have been, since this all started in March, closed to the public, we have not ceased any operations in any of our buildings. Public Works has been working all of their jobs. The senior center is staffed and providing meals curbside if anybody wants to come and get any. They are still providing Meals on Wheels. We are starting to provide some transportation to people who now want to go to doctors visits. The senior center is providing any information and services to anybody who calls in or has any issues. And as far as the town hall goes, we have not been open to the public, but all of the offices have been open. They've been staffed. We've been receiving documents. We've been filing documents. The tax collector has been receiving tax payments and issuing tax questions. Has been releasing motor vehicle liens so people can get their cars registered. The assessor's office has been working with title searches, as has the town clerk. So we are still fully functioning and providing the services that we can. And there do not seem to be any real issues. I haven't heard any real complaints. All of our offices have been working, as I said, and we're providing the services that the residents have asked us to provide on a daily basis. The only thing we're not providing them in person.
I would be very surprised to hear complaints from residents not being able to get into the building, considering everything that's going on, with the virus and all the restrictions that are literally all over the world. It's not just in our part of Eastern Connecticut. It's everywhere. So I would be very surprised. I'm sure there's always somebody that's got something to say, and it's me, but even I understand that there's not a whole lot anybody can do right now. But
yeah, the biggest number of complaints that I got were when we closed the tennis court, the basketball courts, and the disc golf course that was in Lisbon Meadows Park. Now, mind you, we didn't close Lisbon Meadows Park, and the people using the park have been really good, as far as I know, with social distancing. But there were some people who didn't understand why the tennis court, the basketball courts, the disc golf, and the Playscape up by the school were all closed. But we explained it to them as best we could. Some understood, some didn't understand. That's too bad if they didn't understand, but that was the decision we made, and we stuck with it. We have since opened the tennis court, and we have opened the disc golf course, and people seem to be using it. The basketball courts, just by the nature of social distancing, is not something that we have any intention of opening right now, as is the Playscape for the children. But they still have the use of the park to walk in. They still have the community track that they can walk on. So all in all, I think we're doing pretty good right now.
Any idea when things are going to loosen up to the point where, we hear the state is opening little by little, but any idea when maybe the towns like your town or the towns around us are going to get the green light to open up, say, a Playscape or a device like that? Because it's getting to be that time of the year where it's going to be even harder to contain kids and their energy, and they're not going to school. They got to do something. Any idea or have you heard anything from the governor or the health department when that could happen?
No, I don't. Obviously, I think the governor just came out with some new guidelines for the number of people who could gather today, and I think it went from 10 to 25, I believe, is the new, and that would work if we wanted to do that with the Playscape and the basketball court. But the problem with that is the social distancing. You can increase the numbers so that people could get out there and do those things. But in a playscape and on a basketball court, you just can't social distancing. You're not going to social distance yourself from somebody if you're going to be checking them up from doing a layup onto to the net. And you're not going to be social distancing if kids are playing on this playscape. And there's always the issue of sanitizing the playscape from all of the kids all the children who are using it. So I don't see an immediate remedy for those two issues.
Okay. All right, let's move on to something different. Let's how about the cleanup that's happening? Is it June 8th? Am I correct?
Correct. At 7 o'clock in the morning on June 8th, we will be starting our annual spring cleanup. It has been much anticipated. There were some issues when people thought that we weren't going to be doing it, or we were going to be putting it off, because they really look forward to this every year. But it is official. On June 8th, we will be doing spring cleanup starting at 7 a.m. I have told everybody on social media, on the website, flyers are going out. Flyers should have gone out in this week's recycling bins for half the town. Next week, in the other half the town, they'll be getting flyers on what you can and can't put out and how to put it out. And I based on what I see around town, I think people are becoming aware that it is going to happen, and they are taking advantage of it.
I know that you had put out a flyer. I saw it on social media. We put a post on snsnonline.com as well, as far as what you can put out for pickup and what you cannot. So that, you're right. I mean, that information is readily available, and to Lisbon residents. And is it on the Lisbon website, town website as well?
It is. If you go on the town website, you go to the banner that says services, and then click on to spring cleanup. The flyer is there.
Got it. So the information is readily available, which is
it is.
good.
Yeah.
Right. Roads and bridges. I know there were a couple of things that were going on. Maybe you can update what's happening.
Well, Schoolhouse Road is done. It was completed well short of the anticipated time that the road was supposed to be closed. They did a great job. I appreciate the company, the work the company did that did the project. Fortunately, school was out, so it wasn't a real big, didn't have a real big impact on traffic. The locals were all, we sent a letter to all the locals who live on the road telling them that it was going to be closed beginning such and such a date, and it would be closed for 6 or 7 days. So they were all aware that it was going to be closed. And as I said, the buses weren't running, so that wasn't an impact. So that went off pretty much without a hitch.
Very good. I really only have one last question for you, and it's really just, it's an opinion, and I probably would only be asking you out of the first selectman that I talk to on a regular basis, just because of your history. You were a Connecticut state trooper before becoming a first selectman in Lisbon. Obviously, you're aware of what happened in Minneapolis.
Mm-hmm.
And a gentleman by the name of George Floyd was pinned with an officer's knee to the ground. I mean, I'm not a detective, nor have I ever had any aspirations of becoming a police officer or even understand the work. So I'm not going to, guesstimate. Well, you know what? Yeah, I am. To me, it looked like it was just flat out murder, from a police officer. And there was a police officer, a state trooper, that went on Facebook and started talking about how he was getting a lot of hate from residents and stuff, because of the situation here, which is absolutely not fair. No matter what company or profession you're in, they're going to be good people and they're going to be not so good people. Can you give us what your thoughts are as a retired state trooper? What happened in Minneapolis, and how does that make you feel as far as a retired trooper?
Well, I am certainly incredibly proud of my relationship with the Connecticut State Police and all of the people that I have served with, and I feel that it is without a doubt the finest police organization in the country. With regards to that specific incident, I can only say from what I saw is I cannot conceive of a situation where it would be permissible for a police officer surrounded by 3 police officers to back him up to place his knee on the neck of that individual for that long of a period of time, especially since that individual was not handcuffed. I will put a caveat to that. There may be other angles that show something else, but from what I saw, it did not appear that the individual was resisting in any way. He had been handcuffed, I believe, even before he was put in a position where the knee was placed on his neck. And as I said, he did not appear to be resisting. So I cannot imagine why that continued to happen for as long as it happened without one of the 3 other officers tapping that other officer out and saying enough.
Right. There was an EMT that came up behind the officer at one point, checking the man's pulse, and just kind of walked away. And even at that point, the officer still didn't take his knee off of the guy's neck. And and I thought that the most disgusting part of it, other than that, is he had his hands in his pocket the whole time.
Yeah. There's been a lot made of that on the news about that one officer who was just standing there with his hands in his pockets. That's seems a little cavalier when you're in a situation where one officer feels that he needs to protect himself by doing this, but the other one is just standing there with his hands in his pockets. As I said, I don't have all the facts. There may be other angles that we haven't seen, but from what I've seen, I just can't imagine that being acceptable.
Got it. Well, I thank you for your opinion on that. Like I said, I probably wouldn't ask anybody else that question just because of your police background. So anyway, anything else you want to tell us about Lisbon or what's going on, or before we say goodbye?
No. I guess the school is going to be doing a drive-through graduation. I don't remember the date, but they are going to do a drive-through graduation. And as far as the town hall goes, you asked about how it's going and how it's been going. It has been going well. We're making preparations for the day when we do open up. At one point, we were thinking about June 8th might be the date that we open up. And when we do open up, initially it's going to be by appointment only. So it's going to be somewhere between June 8th and June 20th. I think I'm leaning more towards June 20th as an opening date for people to be able to come into the town hall if they need to. But it'll be by appointment only, so we can make sure that we keep social distancing. We're also working very, very hard with the town clerk and the registrars to come up with the protocols for how we're going to be voting in August in the town hall, and even as far ahead as in November. There are going to be some changes as to how people used to enter the two buildings, because we have two districts, the town hall and the senior center. There's going to be some changes as to how people enter and exit the buildings. So we're working on those protocols. So we're just trying to prepare for when we do start to slowly open up, but we are going to open up in stages to make sure that the employees are safe and the people who really need to come into the building are safe as well.
Very good. All right, Tom, as always, thank you very much for your time.
Good talking to you.
You too. And we will catch up with you soon.
All right, take care.
All right, have a good day. Bye-bye now.
You too. Bye-bye.